close those doors.
Yeah, the Cadillac or Chevy dealer.
You go?
That Audi, of course, he had that for about 7 years, decided to get rid of it because she's got a company car.
No, like, we're good. Hey, Rob. Take it
All
away.
right, I'd like to call the January board meeting for the golf board to order.
Bring it. It's the sign up. There's no pencil anyway.
There's no name to it.
No, there's no one on it.
Just keep it here.
Having called the meeting to order, there is no public comment, so I believe we'll go to approval of minutes from July the 10th meeting.
On the announcements part, I've got a couple, or one announcement I want to make before we get to that. First, I just want to remind, we have 4 board members that are on, doing virtually, so just try to make sure we're speaking into the mic so they can hear as much as possible. I just wanted to recognize Mr. Alexander and some of his, the folks he golfs with a lot for the work you've done. They volunteered at McDonald Golf Course to clear out around the ponds and do just a ton of work, and it looks 1,000% better. I just wanted to mention you during this meeting and say thank you for you and what you guys have done.
Thank you, appreciate it. More to come.
More to come. On that note, just for that, I think Jesse is looking into a potential different type of a way to maybe fight algae problems. I don't know how that's going. Off the cuff comment.
More to come on that.
Yeah.
We are.
The ice is helping.
Yeah.
With that being said, we'll go back to approve the minutes from, get received for the July 10th meeting that we had. Also, I assume we would do minutes for the November meeting that we had while we're here.
We don't, nobody's seen the November meeting. Like we sent the meetings out for July in an email, so everyone could look at them and review.
Okay.
So.
Well, with that being said, all in favor of accepting these minutes, say aye.
Aye. And I will say, at the next meeting, we have, go ahead.
Okay. Next is the continuation of prior business. I apologize for not speaking too well. I've had some problems going here. And so is my phone. I would make a comment that I did meet recently with 2 council persons, newly elected Glasscock and Councilwoman Ballard, and we have been trying to work on getting council support for our CIP, which I believe we're going to discuss at a later time here. But that being said, we continue to try to enhance our position to maybe be able to do some projects. So that being said, we'd go ahead and go to, new business.
Okay. Well, the first item I had on new business was the vacant board seat. We had a member that on the board that is no longer interested, has verbally committed to the fact that he does not want to be on the board anymore. So we do have the open seat. That is a food and beverage / retail kind of specialist. I know we do have one individual that we've reached out to. We just need to, as a board, come up with whoever, if any of you guys have any nominees that you think would be interested, then we can talk to them and then discuss that. But I think between now and the next board meeting, we need to put together any names or any suggestions of someone that you guys might know. I know Scott, you talk, if you come up and, are we okay to say that? Have you talked to him?
I forwarded you the email.
It's been a long day.
You want to come up there and see?
Yeah. Just so you're in the microphone.
You can't do this?
Management. So the person that we reached out to has a couple restaurants, or had a couple restaurants here in town, and currently has one. His name's Malad Stepan. When Jesse told me that there was going to be someone stepping down from that food and beverage background, I reached out to Malad. He responded today. He's been out of town, out of country for the month. But he responded today and said he would be interested. For those of you that don't know Malad owns Sabor Restaurant here in town. A lot of knowledge, a lot of background. When he returns to Wichita the latter part of this month, he's willing to sit down with Jesse should this opportunity arise for him to take that position. But again, it's not something, if there's other candidates that the board members have, by all means. I just was thinking of one person, and I thought about him when that position was open. So again, Malad is interested, public golfer that plays at every one of the golf courses, and I think he'd be a true asset to the board.
All right, thanks, Scott.
This restaurant's great.
Yeah, this restaurant's great.
If you've ever eaten at Sabor, it's a great place. Yeah, I think that's a great candidate. Again, if you guys know of anyone else between now and the next board meeting, if we can put a list together and then we can discuss at the next meeting, I think would be our next steps. Okay. If you want, I'll cruise along. The next item I had was a 2023 recap, and let me walk up to the podium. All right, for those of you that are joining virtually, can you see it says 2023 snapshot?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, perfect. So,
Yes, I can see.
thank you. So basically, all I wanted to do is just kind of end the year, go and look at what we've accomplished this year, look at some of the goals that we have for next year. So I kind of put these together. This year, I've told a lot of people, it seemed like it was a lot of just hurry up and wait. There's so much stuff we were wanting to do that we waited on. But at the end of the year, when you really look at the list of stuff that we accomplished, 2023 was a very productive year. So looking at some highlights, I'm going to get into the revenue and stuff a little bit later, but just some quick highlights. It's actually a little more. I figured these numbers up on like December 15th, so we have a little more revenue after this. But basically, $6.5 million went through CPS, our point of sale system. That did not include tournament, class registration, all of that online registration went through a different program because of some accounting issues that we had. So that this number really does not reflect the full amount. In 2022, we were 5.8, so it's about $650,000 increase over 2022, which is a record year. So revenue, pretty happy with that. I definitely still think there's a lot of room for that to increase, even though we did break all the records. Number of rounds played. We last year, again, near record year, basically 175,000 rounds. You ask every golf pro, and they said, that's it. That's all we got. We can't do any more. Well, we did 14,000 more this year, 188,000 rounds. That's even closing the courses one day every other week for maintenance day and all the things that we've done to try to help. We still had this number of rounds. Now, admittedly, we had really great weather pretty much all year. The course was open nearly every day, so that helped. But still, 188,000 rounds is pretty wild. Some of the projects we did, just to kind of go back through them and remind ourselves, new carts, that was obviously a huge win for our division. The clubhouse renovations, which are basically complete now. We spent like $300,000 new equipment. There are a lot of little pieces of equipment that actually make that number a little higher. We got new range balls for all the courses, brand new. We've got, we unfortunately had to spend a lot in irrigation repairs, but hopefully the things that we did replace are good for a while. Cart path repair is going, it's happening in the next few weeks. It's going to start, and then we added the golf simulator. That's a lot of change. And that's just kind of the big ticket. There was a ton of little change throughout the division. So a lot happened this year. The expenses, our labor was up this year because we had so many vacancies in 2022. My position, Kevin's position, the superintendent at SIM. We added a assistant pro to the program. Darius was only here half a year. There's a lot of vacant positions, so of course the labor went up, but other expenses, I haven't gotten the final numbers for the year closeout. The city's still working to close out the year and get all that out. But it should be, they take the labor out, we should be down almost $100,000. So all the stuff that we were able to do and then still control expenses, pretty happy with where we ended up there. All right, so any comments before I kind of move into 2024 and some of the goals that I have set?
Yeah, if the expenses were up as well as the revenue, what was the bottom line?
I'm still waiting on the city to get the final numbers to us.
Okay.
They're still trying to close out everything. I was hoping to have them out today, but the December takes so long. It's because you're closing down the entire year, obviously. As soon as I get those, I'll get those out to everyone. We're going for goals, yeah.
Jesse, have we actually received all the equipment that we had ordered, or is we still have stuff on back order?
We still have 2 greens mowers that should be at Auburn anytime, definitely before the season. And we have a HCX Workman, the utility vehicle, the big one that was supposed to go to Mac, but we're probably going to cancel that because they can't tell us when it's going to be here, and we've kind of went a different direction on that. So we haven't even issued the PO for that. So it was just a verbal order, but we did that last October, and we're 14 months later. We still have no word when we would receive that. So
They expect more of that in the future, or?
yeah. They said Toro was telling us that anything that we did not get ordered by the end of by December 31st, we would not be getting it in 2024. So we try to adapt and plan accordingly. It's not getting any better somehow. So goals for 2024, this is just a few things I put together just to kind of get your input, the board's input as we look at this year. So the golf courses, this is mainly just talking about the courses themselves. I'm going to put an extreme primary focus on course conditions this year. We had a lot of other stuff happening this year. We had to get the equipment. Of course, we had the irrigation issue, but I think now we have a lot of stuff in place. And now the main thing that we have to focus on is making sure the courses are as good as they can possibly be. So I know Kevin and myself, we're extremely happy to have most of these projects behind us so we can focus on what we should be doing instead of being general contractors. So that's going to help. The ponds, especially at Mac and Tex, have been an issue. So we've got plans. I've heard a lot, especially at Mac, about the conditions in the ponds and the algae. So we're working with various people to try to get that situation cleaned up. Creating work-off agronomy plans as much as possible to improve the consistency between the courses and then savings on buying product and chemicals and so forth. Each superintendent has submitted an agronomy plan for me with all of the regularly, scheduled applications that they're going to do throughout the year. So we can see exactly what chemicals everyone's using, when they plan on putting them out. Of course, there are a lot of factors that can change that, but and then we can work together on identifying ways that we can buy in bulk and save and pre-order and all these things. So they've done a great job. All 4 have submitted the plans to me. So it's going to help to kind of be more organized in that area in the future. And then the tree project. I'm going to meet with forestry. I'm going to try to get it this week. They have a new person in forestry that took over, David McGuire. He retired after a long time with the city. So I'm going to meet with Gary Ferris. He's the new person in David's spot, and just kind of figure out what they can do realistically, what we need to try to figure out in-house, and then if we need to contract that out. But I know we've got some trees that are becoming safety issues, so that's something we have to address sooner rather than later. On the clubhouses, like I said, we've done so much work and spent so much time trying to get them put together and provide a better atmosphere. And now it's all about the customer service. So I want consistency. I've got that on the bottom. That we had staff meetings this week, and that was kind of the theme of the meeting was we have to be consistent the way we operate between all 4 courses. no one should have one experience at one course and another experience at another, or get told these are the rules here, but at this other course they have different rules. So we have to get consistent. That's going to be a very, very important goal this year. We want to increase food and beverage offerings and revenue. Obviously, we've done a lot to the clubhouses to prepare ourselves for this year, and we've got big plans for that. We do have the beverage carts at all 4 courses. We're going to make sure those are out. Hopefully every day. Staffing is the issue we have to get in place there, but we want the beverage carts out pretty much every day that we have someone that we can work with. And we have the ability to accept credit cards now, so that's going to help as well on the beverage cards. We want to, we're looking at adding some outdoor seating options. I know at Auburn we have some outdoor seating. They're utilized, Randy and his group and several other, it seems like there's always someone back there. We're looking at adding those options just to give people more reason to hang out at our facility. Increase in tournaments and improve the execution of our tournaments. So the tournament so far this year, I've been bombarded with tournament requests for this year. A lot of the things that we've done this year have caught the interest of a lot of folks, and I don't want to use the word stealing, but we're taking tournaments that have been at another course for years, and they're calling us saying, hey, we're thinking about switching over to one of your places. So we're working through all of those. That's a huge stream of revenue if we can get those tournaments in place. And with us having 4 courses, it's the perfect situation because we have a tournament. We still have 3 other courses that are open for our pass holders to play on. The execution of the tournaments, I want to make it more than just, here's your course. We'll throw up a scoreboard when you're done. I want to make it a lot better experience, and we're working through kind of some training and different things to make the tournaments better for our clients. And then again, consistency with everything. Overall, kind of some back-end admin goals. We hit $6.5 million. I want to hit $7 million this year. I see no reason why we can't do that. Weather would be our main issue. If we get decent weather, I'm very confident we can do that. Food and beverage hit 800,000. Again, all the work we've done, we want it to pay off. We're going to add the roaming mechanic position. Again, City Hall kind of shuts down. It's hard to do a whole lot the first 2 weeks of January with everyone trying to close out the month and holidays and everything else. So we're just now kind of getting into that. So hopefully next meeting I'll have more momentum and more updates on that. And then simplify and streamline the budget and really just clean it up. As far as we talked about it in our previous meetings, that looking at previous years, when I go back and look at the last 5 years trying to compare, it's hard to do because big projects are worked into the regular budget. And I'm looking at, well, we spent $300,000 more than we did last year than we did this year, or this year we did last year, and it's because we had some major project, but it all fits into that budget. So what we've done with that project funding is to take those big things out of the budget where I can still see what we did, but I want the budget to reflect the day-to-day operations, so we're comparing apples to apples, and we can identify areas that we can improve both in the revenue and the expense side. And then with that project funding set up the way that we've kind of moved to, it again gives us that flexibility to react to situations a lot faster and easier than what we've been able to do in the past. Right now, if something breaks, we have to spend a ton of money. I've got to get on city council agenda. I've got to ask for all this stuff. Now that money will be in this project bucket that we can move to where we need if we have to react to the situation. So
I know we discussed that, but was there any type of pushback from either finance or the council in terms of doing that?
No, they helped a lot with that process.
Okay.
No, I never had any pushback whatsoever on that. So. And then this is for later. So, any comments, any other goals, any other things that you guys want to see happen in 2024?
I do have one comment. I've had a few phone calls, not many, but a few phone calls about potentially open Clap as a golf course again. I'd like to say as a board, this is never going to happen to clear the air. I know the city is still maybe procrastinating and trying to decide exactly what they want to do with that location, but it will not reopen as a golf course. So put it to rest.
Not even a 9-hole?
No.
Had to get it in.
Any other question? Anyone online have anything you want to add to that? Okay. And of course, there are a million little goals within those things, but just kind of overall. Okay, if there's no other comments on that, I'll move on to the 2024 programming. For those, Jesse, I emailed everyone else that's virtually. Yeah, that's it. Is it sharing? Okay. All right. I don't want to go through all this, but yeah, Jesse, I sent this out to everyone. I didn't get your email until basically when the meeting started that you weren't going to be here, so I'll send it to you. But basically, we have the 24 programming laid out, which includes, hopefully you can see the screen. Okay. Hopefully you can see the screen there. It's got all the lessons, the classes, the junior events that we have, and junior clinics and tours and everything else that we do with them, the Hook a Kid. As you go through, it also has, it's got Snag, everything that we do there. We have several tournaments that are set already that we have on the calendar. They're on this list as well. And then we definitely figured out last year, if we want to host a tournament, we can put a tournament together and fill it up in about 5 days. So just because something's not on here doesn't mean this is all we're limited to. We will be adding more events as we get staff and we kind of see, we can kind of gauge once the season starts how much we can take on. I want to see how many outside events we get before we start filling up our calendar. So we definitely want to do more in the event part of the business this year. We are adding this ICT Cup. Basically what this is going to be, each course, all 4 courses will put together a team, and each pro at each course can set that up however they want, the qualifying for how the people qualify for the team. But that each course will have a team of 6 men, 4 seniors, and 2 women. At the end of the year, we will all meet up and play a Ryder Cup style format. Each course will have their team represent them, and we'll play that match, 27 holes, 3 different formats. You know, each 9 holes will be a different format. So looking forward to that. I've kind of put that out just to kind of gauge interest, and I think that's going to be a big deal. We'll have a lot more to put on that over the next month or so. And then as you go through more of the junior competitions we have, and then promotions, so forth, leagues with all the representatives. So Jesse, I'll send that to you. Hopefully everyone else received it, but just wanted to share that so you guys know what we have planned as far as programming for 2024, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, any comments or discussion on that? Okay. Okay, no comments. I'll move on to the next item. That's going to be corporate memberships. This is something, when I started, kind of laid out a plan of what my vision was for this golf division. And the first thing was we need to show that we're doing work ourselves to improve the golf courses before we start going out asking for corporate memberships, asking for any kind of, I don't know if you want to call it donations or whatever. I wanted to prove that we were going to do work ourselves to improve our program, and I think we've had a big year of that. So now part of kind of the phase 2 would be to go after corporate memberships, offer those, go after donations, partnerships, things like that. I feel like I can promise you, we've caught the attention and interest of a lot of different companies. Right before this meeting, we received an email from a company that reached out, a big company that said, hey, we're interested in sponsoring some of your events. What are the opportunities? And that's one of several emails like that I've received. So I think I'm very happy with the way that it's kind of going, the way that I hope that it would. So corporate memberships, obviously we don't offer those right now, and there's several different ways that you can set up a corporate membership. Courses do it different. I'm going to send this out to you all. It's just kind of I'll just talk about it right now, but a couple of different options that I was thinking that would make sense. One would be the company would just pay a lump sum for a membership, for annual membership. And they would have, you could do two members, 4 members, however we decide to set that up. And then they would get discounted rates for their guests. The rental space, if they want to do a conference or have meetings there, we would waive just the rental fee for if they're a member. We could do something with rental clubs if they have guests come in. And then special rates for corporate events. So if they want to have a tournament, things like that, they get a little special rate for being members, for their company being a member. And then another option would be, basically we come up with a lump sum of if they want 40 passes, 60 passes, 100, whatever it is, for them to use throughout the year for themselves or whoever clients, whoever they want to bring in. And they basically just pay for those up front. That covers their membership. And then they would still get the special rate for corporate events, tournaments, whatever. And then if they wanted to use our meeting space, we would waive the small rental fee, and they would just pay for food and drink, whatever they use. So I kind of want to just throw those 2 options out and get some feedback from you all, see what you think. Maybe, I know, Evan, maybe you guys do it different. We're over at Tear Down. I don't know. But any feedback I would welcome.
I do know it's been done quite a bit. We were actually doing that at Tear Down when I was there. I think you'd probably have to balance it between what you're going to lose in your play versus what you're going to pick up in corporate. Obviously, people that play golf also work for the corporation, so
Right.
somewhere there's got to be a balance in there.
Right. My experience, when you have corporate members, they become partners. They want the courses to look good. So when they bring their clients out, so they're willing to kind of help with projects, and you can kind of use that for sponsorships and different things. So it kind of opens the door to a lot more opportunity in that way. So I think that's a huge benefit. I don't know.
Well, in terms of slight corporate exposure or cooperation, I know that the city doesn't necessarily do it, but all the country clubs on their member guests and those types of tournaments, there's all kinds of corporate sponsorship in that. And probably, which is why the membership at the clubs do so much better in their tournaments than the Wichita Golf Association does, because of all this input from corporate. And I know so far, Wichita Golf Association just basically refused to get into that, so.
Yeah, I mean, if someone calls me from a company and say they want to do a fundraising tournament, what I always tell them is you want your entry fee to cover all your costs, but your sponsorship's where all your profit's going to come from. So if you can just charge out, as far as the entry fee, whatever you need to cover it, but then your sponsors, that's where they make the $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 for these fundraising tournaments. And not saying that's what we're trying to do, but yeah, there's a huge, we have, it's just, we take an entry fee. By the time we pay out our tournaments, we don't make much money. Nothing like we should, and not at all like where I want to get to. But this corporate membership and kind of partnerships, I think, could definitely help with that.
Yeah, I mean, most amateur tournaments, as we well know, are all done through pro shops, through their support. And when you get a corporate membership and they're pumping $5,000 into gift certificates for the whatever particular course that you're at, that's a boost. I mean, not only are you having a tournament, you're also impacting your merchandising facility, which we all want to do too. I mean, we'd like to have everybody that plays have the Wichita Golf logo on their hat or something. I mean, is there anything wrong with that? So
Absolutely.
it's just something we do need to study it in the future against whatever the variables that happen to come up with those particular situation.
I mean, we've probably had, Kevin monitors the Golf Wichita email address. We both do, but we've probably had, I don't know, 10 corporations or companies or businesses reach out and say, hey, we want to sponsor something. We want to do something. And I think there's just a huge opportunity there for us. Now I have to figure out how that works on the back end to make sure we're not doing anything wrong. But I know there's a way to do it. And that was one reason we were hoping to get a nonprofit for the liquor license, because we could also use that as donations. That would be donated back to the golf fund, but we talked to Ms. Ballard, and she said she was gonna look into that a little bit more for us, but we don't know anything new on that.
Well, I think in order to do that, probably to support you, I would think the board would make a motion to further investigation of this particular project to see if we can work out some type of corporate agreements with various ones. So I, for one, would put that forth as a motion to go ahead and explore that potential possibility. So I don't know if we have a second or not, but do I hear anything from the board?
This is Marcia. I'll second.
Excuse me.
She's second.
Okay, Marcia seconded that. All in favor of that, doing that? I would ask for a vote.
I'm not exactly sure what you're making a motion on. Could you maybe expound on that? What, are you wanting us to do something, or?
No, the motion is basically to explore the possibility. To have Jesse explore the possibility of creating corporate sponsorships for the board.
Okay.
Are you still confused? Are we still confused?
No.
Okay, I'm not saying that we're going to enter into anything. All we're doing is making a motion to have him look into the potential.
So what?
Yeah,
what
I thought we was doing that.
I will get with Nate Legal and just make sure everything's done the way it's supposed to be and what we can and can't do. I'll kind of work through those, the background part of that. And I'll also put together some corporate membership packages that we can kind of discuss and hopefully vote on next meeting. We can go from there.
So basically, we're just asking a vote for him to go ahead and do these tasks. And motion's on the floor to do that. All in favor, say aye. 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 All opposed, say no. No votes, therefore the motion carries. Okay.
Before I move on to the next item, were there any other, as far as corporate memberships or sponsorships, any other discussion or comments? Okay.
Well, the only other thing I know that we're getting the new credit card for the cards, et cetera, et cetera. What is the status now on the implementation of the new program for the point of sales and what have you?
Well, it's ongoing. We have some kind of a network issue. Well, it's either a network issue or it's with the software. We've spent probably 40 hours on the phone with our software company in December. 5 minutes before I walked into this room, I spent an hour on the phone with our IT department to figure out what we're trying to locate the issue first. We don't really want to move forward with a new company if we're going to have the same exact issue. If we can fix the speed issue that we currently have and not have to transfer all that data and do all that, that would be the best case scenario. So we're still kind of a last ditch effort to try to fix the system that we have. I have, everybody in our IT. I was on a meeting with 6 folks from our IT department and 2 people from their IT department before this meeting, trying to get a plan on how we can, what we can try to get that solution. So I know the program, I've looked at it, it's not my favorite, but the layout, but I've looked at this program that other courses use, and it's lightning fast. I've called them, I've had them FaceTime me and show me a transaction, and it's lightning fast. So I don't know what the problem is. Nobody does. So that's what we're working through. I don't know. I wish I had a definite answer what we're going to do, but I don't want to do all this trouble and spend all the money if it's not going to be any better. Okay. If everyone online, can you please mute your your computer until you're ready to speak. We got a lot of background noise. Hey, Randy, can you mute your computer, please? I think that's where the noise is coming from. That's it. Okay, thank you. All right, the next time I want to talk about, it's a company that I've been talking to, kind of looking into. I really like the concept, and I wanted to bring it to you as a board to get your opinion on it. The company is called Notify. It's spelled No-T-Fi. And basically what it is, our biggest problem we have right now, the biggest complaint I get is customers saying, I can't ever get a tee time. I've got a membership, the tee times are always booked, I can never get one. And then the other thing, when someone cancels a tee time, if they wait until the day of and cancel, we lose that. Like, tee time's just gone. We lose that money. So this kind of bridges that gap a little bit. So again, problem number one, golfer doesn't see the tee time that they want. What can they do? And then problem two, 20% of all online tee times in the golf industry are canceled. There's a ton of lost revenue when you add that up over 4 courses all year long. So the way this program works, let's say you go on, you're a member, you go on to book a tee time Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. Nothing's available. You click on this link that's right there where you're trying to book your tee time, and it gives you the option to say, notify me if a tee time becomes available between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. at Auburn Hills, at Auburn or McDonald, or at all 4, any combination. If someone does cancel their tee time, it opens up, it automatically is going to send an alert out to everyone that had requested tee time during that period. And it's, from that point, it's first come, first served. But it keeps that, that tee time would fill in 5 seconds with that. I feel like that's, we can cancel tee times right now, and sometimes you can stand at the computer and watch them fill up. The problem is that's just chance if that happens. If people knew, hey, something just freed up, jump online and grab it. I think it would be a huge benefit. Some of the courses this company works with is huge courses. They do the Kemper Membership Company. They've got the TPC Network, Seam Strong. My old Fairfax County, where I just came from, uses it now. As far as municipal multi-course operations, Montgomery County, a county that was right next door, they use it. They have 9 courses. Reston National. I've called several people here, the people that I know that are on this list, and other people that I know that use it. They said it was one of the best things they've ever done. I think it's the benefit is huge. 3 really benefits. Obviously, the financial component. You fill those tee times that otherwise would have went unused. The efficiency, you're going to cut back on all the chaos in the clubhouses, people calling, asking if you have a last minute tee time, can I walk on, whatever, it kind of helps with that. And then third, to me, which is maybe most important for us, is the customer experience. All those emails and all those complaints that I get, this gives us a way to say, hey, we're trying to come up with a solution, we're trying to fix this problem, and I want people to know that we are. I really do want to fix it, but if tee times are booked, they're booked, but this at least gives an option if somebody drops out, hey, we'll let you know. It's built into the tee booking system. Our Gallus Golf app, they work directly with them. They work with CPS. So it's all built in. There's really nothing on our end that we need to do other than just walk through the setup. And then you can set it up however you want to say whatever you want when it goes out. You have full control of everything. There's no ads or none of that stuff that comes along with it. And yeah, like I said, the companies that we already use, they seamlessly fit right into that program, so it would work. Again, 100% operator satisfaction, that's what they promote. I have verified with, I think, 5 different users, and every one of them said without a doubt, like, it's one of the best things we could have done. It's overwhelmingly positive feedback. And these are people that I know personally, so. The cost sounds expensive up front, $5,000 per course annually, but when you break that down, let's say you have 250 days of golf per year. The weather allows 250 days of golf. That's $20 a day is what you need. You basically need to fill not one tee time, one tee slot, one person out of a foursome. And you would get that back. If you gain one foursome a week, it would be $5,600. And then if you gain one twosome a day, it would equal $17,500 per course. So that would be a net gain of $12,500. Their analytics on the back end tracking this, they're very detailed, so I can go in and say, show me everyone that booked through the system the day of or within 48 hours of the tee time, so you can see that's actually a tee time that we would have lost. So you can keep up with the true revenue that they gain from this. Not if someone booked something 7 days out, we would have booked that anyway. That's not what we're really concerned with. It's the last minute bookings to fill those blank tee times. And again, I put the customer complaints, and I think that's just as big as the money. So yeah, I want to just kind of present this. I've been talking to them. I've been very impressed. I would like to explore the potential of putting this in our system, and I'd like to get your feedback and thoughts on this.
That 20% that cancel, is that our percentage?
That's national average.
That's
But I would
national average.
say that's probably close to us too. Now, we do have the cancellation policy, and it's on us. We have to enforce that. If we don't enforce that, this doesn't help, but we have been doing a really good job of enforcing that this year.
This is Marcia. Is this an annual contract or?
It is, yeah. Yeah, if we, for some reason, didn't want to do it, I mean, we could cancel it, it'd be year to year, but it is annual.
Would that also help with where people book a tee time for 4 people but only show up with 2, and be able to marry people together to maybe create more tee times?
Not really, unless they showed up really early. I mean, at that point, typically they check in 15 minutes before their tee time, and we don't really have time in that case to react to that. But that's where we have to enforce that cancellation fee, or that cancellation policy. That way, the next time they know they're not going to show up with 4, only 2, they're going to cancel ahead of time. And then in that case, yes, it would help get 2 more people in those slots, and we pair them together.
Just enlighten me, what is our current cancellation policy?
If after the second one, you lose your online booking rights for a month. That's correct. And then, and that's a big deal because you can't call and get a tee time. They're booked already.
We've never ever instituted a financial cost of
My understanding is that the city really doesn't want to get into charging for something they really didn't use. So we just kind of use the discipline method instead of trying to get funds for someone that didn't.
Yeah, I know, it's always been an iffy one way or the other situation either way.
Yeah.
So it's,
Now, I will say with the simulator, since we only have limited bookings on that, we do, if they cancel or they don't show up, there's half of the price of the simulator is charged to their account, and they can't play again. They can't play regular golf again until they pay that half of that fee. Because we only have, like right now, the days are short. We only have 5, maybe 6 tee times on that simulator every day, and that thing is 100% booked all day, every day, 7 days out. I'm kind of getting off topic, but I did want to bring that up. That thing has been a major success so far. I know Robert, you played in there last week. I have to go at 10 o'clock at night and play because you can't get in the thing. So,
we went after hours into it.
And will the simulator be included in that course?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a regular tee sheet just like the golf courses do, so absolutely.
Not for another 5,000, but just for the 5,000 we're paying for the course.
I'll verify that. I'm pretty sure I can get that done.
Okay.
if you were to sign up for that, is that a year-to-year deal, or can you initiate that like March to March, or?
Yeah, we can
does
do
it
it.
make any difference? Okay,
It's-
so
It's
basically,
from the day you do it to the 12 months out from that day.
we can postpone this particular item for another several months. I mean, obviously, we're gonna have some slow time going into that and still have time to initiate that, let's say towards the end, April, for instance, when golf picks up substantially.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you either get the slow time on the front end or the back end. I don't want to wait until we're going 1,000 miles per hour to
Right.
see if there are any kinks. So I would, if we were to move forward, I would like to go 1st of March, middle of March. But yeah, you do it whenever you want. It's 12 months from the date you sign up.
Okay, would there be, I realize this is a little quickie type of presentation to get the full information regarding this particular item?
Yeah.
Before we'd have the next board meeting?
Yeah. And I could actually have him come online on the next board meeting and do that as well. If you guys want him to come on and answer questions, I'm sure he'd be willing to do that.
What is the impact of the weather on cancellations? Have we ever did any analysis on that?
Yeah, if it's pouring down rain, we get a lot.
And snow?
I mean, weather, obviously. And we're pretty light. I mean, if it's pouring down rain, we're not going to enforce a cancellation policy. Obviously, it's, yeah. I don't know how to answer that. I mean, if it's raining, we don't enforce a cancellation policy, or if it's cold or whatever it is.
This whole week.
Yeah.
They signed up.
Sign up. Hey, you're out there.
You knew it was
Had some tea times this week.
There's something on the T sheet we can, it says weather. And so it puts a note on the screen that shows that they weren't there, but it gives the reason why. It just says weather, little icon that lets us know that's probably why.
Yeah.
Jesse, on that notify, if I have call it 7:30, they stating that they're going to cancel their 8:15 tee time, does it, I mean, once we cancel that, it comes available and they got X number of minutes?
Yep.
But that's still, I mean.
If you've got Randy Blum, who lives 10 minutes from the club, he can be in the clubhouse in 5 minutes. If it pops up that, hey, tee time's open, he can hop on it and be there. I mean, you can do it right up till the minute.
I think the biggest issue that we have more so than this, and this would be a great tool, is the no-call, no-shows. I mean, at that point,
It won't fix that.
it's not gonna fix that. I mean, we just lost those dollars.
No, yeah, there's no way around that other than enforcing, making sure we are very strict on the cancellation policy. If they didn't call, they didn't show, you ding them, and then they lose their right to book tee times.
But if they call the golf shop versus doing it online, it'll pop up and say, this person has X number of no-shows. But that doesn't prohibit them from calling in. So there really isn't any.
Yeah, we can't completely say you can't play golf, but we're gonna charge you your dues this month. But you're not gonna be able to book online. The tee times, the prime tee times 100% are gone in seconds online. So when they go to call, they have to wait for you to get to the shop. Everybody else has been online at 5 o'clock. So I mean, there's definitely downsides. We do what we can. There's no golf course on the planet. It's gonna stop no show, no calls unless you're able to do prepayment or
Get penalized.
get a card. Yeah, get a card on file. We're not allowed to do that.
I know a lot of guys will talk about, they'll just create another account. Is there any way for us to keep an eye on that, or is that impossible with a different email address?
People are gonna be people, but
Yeah, okay.
if they're not,
I hear the talk.
if they're members, they can't do that because it's signed, their membership is linked to that account. So members wouldn't be able to do that. Green fee players, I mean, we try to pay attention and catch them. That's all we can do.
All right. That's one way they try to get around it, I think.
Oh, yeah, people will figure it out. I mean, they don't do it here so much, but I know like in the bigger markets where I was at, they use bots. So it's like Ticketmaster. They go in, I don't know the language. They use this bot that goes in, grabs all the tee times, and it's crazy. And you can't really catch them. It's almost impossible.
And everybody that works the courses, we've scrolled through CPS, they're the same name 5 times because they've created 5 different accounts because who knows why. So, yeah. You're not gonna get
If somebody does do that and they go on, let me book 5 tee times and then I'll figure out which one we want and then I'll let them go. Well, when they let them go, boom, now it's getting an email out to everybody or notification saying, hey, this tee time's open. Great. No.
From the technical aspect, this, if you entered into this, that would be a contractual agreement, correct or incorrect?
Yeah, it'd be a 1-year agreement.
So if we had a meeting and we had a presentation and decided to do this, we would be having time to include that in contractuals for the 2024 budget.
Yeah, we can do this at any point. Yeah. We can, yeah, we would, that wouldn't be a problem. We had a leftover lump in our contractual budgets this year. We didn't use it all, so we could work that in. But I also think the revenue would offset the expense pretty quickly.
Yeah, you still have to include it in your contractual, whether it offsets or not.
Right, but we could go to a budget adjustment when we do when we revise the budget in August, we could do that.
All right. Now, the other question being, I don't think we'd have to have a motion to have a presentation next meeting, would we?
No, and I was gonna bring this up in a second. There's 6 of us that are gonna go to the PCA show in Orlando next week. I'm gonna meet with this, the guy that was with this company. I've got a ton of meetings set up for next week, but this is one of them. So I'll talk to him next week in person, get really more details and ask him to be at the next board meeting.
Maybe grab some brochures or something and bring it back and see that prior to his presentation.
Yep, I'll get all that info out.
I'd appreciate that.
Yep.
It's an app, right? I was wondering if they could download the app now.
No. It's built into your app or your tee booking system.
But for the customer.
No. You go to our app and it's on that screen. They integrate it with that app.
I didn't know if it was something like they could go play on it.
No, you can go to the website, read about
You
it.
can go to the website and sign up at some course in another state. See how it works.
Yeah, cancel.
You can
Well,
cancel
when he
it.
did the demo for me online, he actually went in and booked a tee time and canceled it and showed how it works. So he could do that for us in the meeting, so you can actually see it in real time, how it works.
But I'd certainly be willing to work at or look at it, and is it potentially it might make you some revenue, but the worst case scenario, it costs you $20,000 for a year to find out if they never used it, so.
I don't think there's, I mean, personally, I don't feel there's any way we wouldn't at least break even, and we've offered a solution to a problem that a lot of customers have. That's the way I'm looking at it, but realistically, I think we would come out way ahead in revenue. But in Montgomery County, he has 9 courses, he told me they made, I don't remember the number, but they made a lot of extra revenue, and they could track it with the analytics and see how much revenue came from last minute tee time bookings through that system, and it was a lot.
I'd, go ahead and investigate it while you guys are
Yep.
down in Orlando and we'll pursue it again with maybe a presentation next meeting in February.
Sounds good.
Hey, Mike, I tell you what, I like it. I know that sun is terrible. I like the idea, if for no other reason than from the customer side of it, like, a few years ago, I was on the customer, that it shows that we're trying to do something. This problem he's talking about can't, but it is widespread. I hear it all the time at work from people that I know and people that I don't know. I can't, and that sort of ties into, what are they going to do with CLAP? If we had another course to take the heat off the other 4, it would be awesome. But just for no other reason than it shows these people like, yeah, we are trying to fix this problem. I'd hate to take, I don't think we're going to lose $20,000. I think we break even at worst. But from that other side, if there is another side of it, not just the financials, it's showing the customer that we are making an effort to try to, because would you say that's the number one problem that you hear all the time? I do too, at work.
Well, I totally agree. I think anything you do to increase or enhance your own image is always positive. I mean, it's.
I'll support it just for that reason alone, right there, so.
So again, let's look into it and bring it back and put it on the agenda for the next board meeting, and potentially if we can have some kind of a conference with that individual, that would be great.
And I'll meet with staff and we'll go over questions that we need to ask and try to think of every possible scenario, make sure we're covered. But yeah, I'll definitely do that.
Well, that's the only reason I'd want to maybe see some brochures or some type of advertisement for whatever they're trying to push. The more you know about it, the better you can be informed to ask questions.
Yeah, I also like to see how our cancellation percentage so we can know what we're shooting for.
I'll try to figure that out in CPS. I'll do my best. It's, I can get all the golf pros to come up and give a testimony on, it's a lot. But yeah, I'll try to, I don't know. I'll try to find a report.
Yeah, we kind of need to know what the opportunity is. That's what I'm saying.
Sure.
I know it's a good opportunity, but
Yeah.
I just need to know.
Yeah, let me work on that reporting. That's gonna be tricky, but I'll see what I can come up with. Okay, any other discussion or comments on the, again, just wanted to bring that to you guys and see, get your thoughts, and I see the potential, but see what you guys thought. Okay, next up, I've got finance and round report. There's okay, just a quick, again, I don't have the official finance, statements from for the year-end closeout, but I'll go through December and where we were at through CPS with revenue. So, I kind of mentioned this already, we were up 14,000 rounds, 8% over last year, which is, something to be proud of for our staff. They did a heck of a job. December rounds were up. We had good weather last year. We had a few weeks. So last year, December was worse. This year, January is worse. January, we're still going to be pretty close on revenue, but obviously we've not had a lot of play since the first of the year. But still, in January, we were up 2,400 rounds, a big 35%. Cart rentals were up for the year, 6%, and that we didn't get the new cart till halfway through the year. And anyway, I expect that to go way up. There were so many carts at Mac and Sim in the first part of the year.
Yeah, Jesse, what kind of impact did our simulator add to the bottom line here?
It was a lot. I mean, we opened it December 5th, I believe, and we did a lot of free to promote it, a lot of free rounds, stuff like that, just to help as far as marketing or whatever. I don't remember the number, the actual amount of revenue in December.
16.8.
No, it was more than that. I can tell you in January, here in a second, I'll pull the report and let you know before we leave.
The point I'm trying to get to is, would it behoove us to replicate that at
Yes.
a couple of
Yes,
courses?
that's the next meeting. I want to go to the PGA show. I've got a lot of plans at every.
Okay, good. That's what I was wanting.
That thing, we could have 10 of those right now with the demand that we have now. When the weather breaks, that may go down a little bit. I don't know that it will, but
So either.
at worst, I want one on the east side and one on the west side. So, yeah. But yeah, with carts, we had so many opportunities at Mac and Sim earlier in the year where, not opportunity, we didn't have carts and people decided to walk, and we lost a lot of revenue before we got the new carts. So that number I expect will go up quite a bit next year. Food and beverage was up 8%, and that's without anything. I mean, we had the clubhouses torn apart, 3 of them most of the year, so especially during the busy time. So even with that, food and beverage is up with the addition of beverage carts every day, and then the new stuff that we're getting ready to roll out. I expect that number. I set a goal of 800,000, Kevin and I, and that's extremely conservative. I think we can honestly probably get close to 9, but I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. Driving range was up 30,000, 16%. That's, I mean, saw how busy we were in 22 on the driving ranges, so to do that, and that's even with our deal with First Tee where they get a small percentage because they paid for the range machine and built the shed and helped oversee it. So even with that, up $30,000. So that's a big, that's a good number for me. I'm very proud of that one. Merchandise comparison, Scott's in the room. Look at that, $200,000 ran out of Scott's shop this year. Of course, that money we only get 5% of that, but Scott, I do want to commend you with what you do with your merchandising is, I mean, a shop that size, that's incredible what you do. You do a heck of a job there. The other courses, again, we have them kind of ripped apart all year, so they're looking forward to see what they do. I know Colin at Mac, he just signed a deal with Callaway. I've been talking to Ken about what he's going to do. We've got Steve will be able to have his full shop next year, so these numbers will go up. And even though we don't get this money, it's a representation of us. People walk in, they don't know who owns the shop. To them, that's Auburn Hills, that's Golf Wichita. So The fact these guys are doing what they're doing there is that's a huge, it's a really good look for us.
A little,
Simulators, 4,000 from the day we started.
if you go back to corporate memberships and when you start talking about these numbers that come up here for pro shops, and again, you're putting out your image, that can only enhance it if you get into that a little bit. I mean, if you're giving out a gift certificate for the shop for $1,000 for somebody that come out and play a tournament or something, I know that you only get $50 of it, but it's image that creates it. So, and that guy, he might just come back and play again. I don't know.
Well, talking about corporate memberships, Scott, he does a good job building those relationships. He had someone come in, buy 4 sets of clothes for some of their employees, and you've done 70,000, I think, in January. It's unreal. I mean, every time I see the report come through, I'm like, we were closed. You know, he's doing this. So, but that's a good example. The stuff like that, it opens the door up for so much, all the way across, in my opinion, getting the corporate memberships. Membership counts pretty flat month over month. Of course, you're going to lose a few this time of the year. The young adults were the biggest category that dropped, but we always pick up several in the spring. So I think probably come March, this number will shoot back up pretty quick. And then total revenue again, we just broke $6.5 million, $6,501,336. That's huge. I mean, in 2022, we had 5.8 million, and actually 2022 did include all the tournaments, the programming that happened. We lost that ability in December of last year, so it's actually more of an increase than what this shows. But to get to that number with everything we had going on and no clubhouse and all the stuff we had to deal with, I'm pretty proud of that. I think that we definitely have potential to shoot that number up quite a bit even more in 2024. Okay, and then like I told you, when I get the financials from the city, I will send those out so you can see on the expense side exactly where we ended up for the year.
I would like, for myself, I don't know about everybody else, but I do get a lot of help from Scotty to get a monthly report, just send it out on the expenses and revenues and membership. This information I get here, I don't see it except on that screen, and to be candid, I'm not quick enough to see it and write it down. So that we would maybe have that information at hand to know a little bit more when somebody does ask us a question. I mean, fortunately or unfortunately.
Yeah, I haven't obviously since December, but I thought I was sending them.
I have never received one of my emails.
Check your spam, because he sends them out. I have been receiving.
I don't get them.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I mean, like I say, Scott's more than generous with helping me there, but I've never ever.
I'll get a paper copy for you so you have it, but I'll make sure. Well, I know you're on there. I know you're on there. You might check your spam. I don't know, but I'll make sure you get it.
I mean, I got today's agenda and this other information, but I mean, I've never seen a financial report come to me at all, period.
Okay, we'll make sure you get one. So hopefully, I don't know, I would say next week at best before we get the year in. I mean, obviously that one takes a while, but there's a list of invoices that are still open. They're trying to get closed out that went out today, and there's a lot. So they still got a lot to work through. It's a big job for those folks to figure out.
I just want to be able to respond to people that ask me those questions.
Sure.
Because personally, I'm really proud of all the endeavors that we're doing. And I'd like to be able to tell people, yeah, we've done great, but we have all these other expenses that we're looking at, which is,
Sure.
you know, there are some major problems that we still have to correct yet. And
Absolutely.
in order to be able to explain, you got to know what your numbers are. And unfortunately, I just don't get a seat of it.
I don't know why you're not getting them. We'll make sure you get them moving forward. And I can go back. I've got them every month. So anything you want to see, let me know. Next up, I've got course updates. I don't know that, Scott, did you have anything from Auburn? It's kind of a hard time of the year to do an update. I don't know what happened. I know Kent, you're online. Do you have anything from Sim? We may have lost Kent.
Sleepy.
All right. So I think we'll just move on to the project update. I know Kevin's gonna kind of come up if you wanna come up. You got a piece of this?
I'm injured.
We keep this fairly short. We know what's going on. Just finishing up a lot of the stuff we've already started. And then go down to project update.
Project update, my hip's doing great, 5 weeks out from hip replacement.
I need to give the injury report. So Steve is almost recovered.
Almost straight.
His new hip is starting to click. It's working okay. Scott's wearing a Christmas sock still from his foot surgery. So, and his arm is still beat up.
Done with PT.
So again, I'll ask for anyone in the public that's watching this, please take it easy on my guys. Like I gotta have them at work. So
Al Collins and pneumonia.
what's that?
Al
He's
Collins.
fine. He's eating again.
I've had it tough this year.
Thank you. All right, so quick project update. What's going on here? Again, car path repair, they finalized, they had to put that out for bid. They had to get real specific and draw this up, so they were working on that. That's going out for bid. We already know for sure one person's gonna bid, got the quote from them, so they're gonna bid on it, so, that, they're ready to start whenever. So worst case scenario, we have that done, I hope mid-March, completely done with it.
Curiosity, do we have to move that to the 2024?
No, it's coming out of the project fund. The project funds they're not tied to a year. The bathroom renovation at Mac, I can tell you it was chaos in there today. We had, yesterday they came and ripped out all the fixtures. Today they came in with the paint and started changing the shower to a mop closet. And then tomorrow they're gonna finish the paint flooring on Thursday and Friday, and then they'll come in with all the new fixtures and partitions Monday and Tuesday. So, by the time we get back from Orlando, we'll have a nice shiny bathroom to take advantage of.
All new everything. We stripped them.
Yeah. And we replaced some of the piping in the wall because it was not pretty. So we got all
There's like old galvanized combined with copper, and the plumber's like, I need to fix this while it's open.
Then I'll skip the F&B and let him come back and handle it at once. The driving range improvements, that's again, something this year I want to look at the PGA show and get some ideas. At Auburn, we have the big barrels that came in late in the year, that we're gonna put the oversized flags and add targets to that. We were really at Tex wanting to put the airplane propellers out there as targets, just since it's by the airport. Very hard to find. We actually bought a big fan that looks like an airplane. We're gonna try that. Or paint it and try it. I don't know if that's gonna work, but
So it'll actually be on one of the poles and spin.
so it just looks like a giant airplane, front end of an airplane.
We'll see.
Uh,
Kick balls onto the airport.
Well, the other thing with the driving ranges that we are still, especially at Auburn, is adding concrete and putting mats so we can be open more. When you talk about the simulator, adding those, I'm gonna wait until I get back to get into that, because I'm kind of tossing out an idea around about adding simulator, bay, and mats at Auburn, and kind of how I want to do that, but I'm not there yet, so I'll talk about that next meeting. New events, again, that's gonna be a big thing push this year to try to get new events, both in-house and hosted events. Customer service is gonna be a huge focus into the consistency. And then on April the 13th at Tex, we're gonna host a junior golf day. Any of you that came out last year to the Golfer Appreciation Day that we had at Auburn, it's gonna be similar to that, but it's gonna be focused on junior golf. We're gonna have vendors set up, all kinds of stuff on the range, music, all the stuff. We're gonna have clinics. Hopefully gonna have a college coach, some high school coaches come out and talk to the kids. We're gonna have a drive, chip, and putt top contest. It is also the 50th anniversary of Wichita Junior Golf Foundation. So we're gonna kind of pair with them to blow that event up and celebrate that, as well as our junior program. So First Tee is gonna be involved. So looking forward to a really good day at Tex on April 13th. Anyone that has any ideas or willing to help with that event, that would be very appreciated.
Tee boxes and sand traps, is that part of projects or is that something different?
No, it is. It's so the on-course projects. We had a meeting, had a superintendent's meeting on, I don't think Thursday this past week. Tee boxes and sand traps were the number one thing that we talked about that we're going to do this year at all courses. Depending on I know Auburn and Mac, their bunkers are in dire need of kind of being reworked, and we also have the next meeting, we're going to identify bunkers that we could eliminate that really don't come into play, that we spend way too much time on for no reason. So we're going to try to grass those in. So I'll have kind of that plan laid out for you guys to review and approve next board meeting. And then tee boxes as well. Before I even said anything, every superintendent, I was like, tell me what your goals are for this year. Every one of them said tee boxes. So yeah, you hit it right on the head. That's two major items. Hopefully, with the moisture we've had this fall leading into the cold weather, and it kind of did gradually get cold. You know, this is a heck of a cold snap we just had, but hopefully we won't have the issues of winter kill that we had last year. And even when it really was cold this last time, we had snow on top to insulate it, so it should help. Last year it was the worst case scenario you could ask for, and we hopefully won't have that this year.
Curiosity, if they're bringing up tee boxes, what are we looking at? Are they still going and trying to go warm season grasses, or are we trying to do overseeding?
Well, we were looking at doing some warm season grass. A lot of them just trying to re-level and get them. I mean, there's some bad tee boxes with dips and unlevel. So we're looking at just overall, kind of case by case, course by course. What do we need to do best case to get?
Well, if you take a tee, let's just say you have a tee box that you're rebuilding. You get it graded out, you get it done, or you're gonna go on Bermuda grass, Georgia grass? I've always thought that maybe if you got it completely tore out in the tee box size, maybe just sod and ends and Georgia or something that get it completed.
Yeah, I think it depends on, I don't want one tee box at a course being totally different than the rest. So it kind of depends on depends on where you're talking about, which box you're talking about. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to do all of them exactly the same. That if we reshape one, we're going to switch grass in that one tee box. I don't know. Maybe that's not what you're saying, but
you've been trying to go warm season anyway, I assume.
Yeah.
It appears as though they try to do a little bit of overseeding in winter. I saw some places where they aerified and put some seed in, and the only place it came up very well was in the aerifying holes. So I don't know whether they didn't slice it well enough to get the seed to the ground or what. Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, that's kind of I can get the supers here next month to kind of go more over the specific process they did. That's not my world, so I know what our goals want to be, but I don't know exactly. You're asking what they did. I don't know. So
if you're going to rebuild one,
yeah,
aim it towards whatever your goals are.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
If you stick to the same premise, then let's throw in whatever we're doing at the time, then you're never going to a goal. All you're doing is fixing a tee box.
I understand what you're saying now. Yeah, we would definitely do that. Yep. Any other questions or comments before I switch it over to Kevin for F&B? Okay.
All yours.
Just take the rider.
There you go. All right. So this actually came up from Jesse. We were looking at text because we were going to kind of get all the cabinets in there. But when they tiled the floor, however many years ago, put the ceramic tile down, it only goes to the cabinets. So that was going to leave some ugly underneath this new equipment. So we've already purchased. We're going to redo all the cabinets, put new countertops, and it'll be a much better look. And it'll match what's going on. And we're going to paint the brick back there at Tex. I actually got a picture on my phone from Steve. They did the lighting yesterday in there. And I kind of joked with Steve in the text saying, well, now you got to do some cleaning, LOL. And he said, yeah, kind of opened my eyes to what my kitchen actually looks like because it's so much brighter. It just gave it a big boost because we put in the drop ceiling lights instead of he had some cracked fluorescent stuff up there and one of them didn't even work. So it's actually fully lit now, and that's a big difference. So what we're looking at is if you're standing, I don't want to walk away
away from the mic, but the existing concession counter, on the right side, the counters will just be all new and the sinks are new. And it'll give us plenty of room to add everything, move the hot dog rollers closer to the front area where they need to be, and still be able to add their turbo oven and their flat grill with all new sinks and cabinet work. And then the other side, which you don't really see much standing at the counter past the ice machine, there's a drop-in cooler that we're going to move to the cart barn, so we just for backup cold beer. But we're going to put a cooler freezer unit in there, put a sandwich unit in there, and then get a new cooler for his beer, so he has more room. Right now, he's using half that cooler for just his refrigeration because he doesn't really have anything there. So he's got his backup hot dogs and stuff like that that we'll be able to move to that, the one that says top and bottom cooler, so we won't have that problem. And then I'm sure nobody's seen out in his cart barn there. We did buy a freezer about 2-3 months ago, and that's outside. That has enabled him to free up a lot of space and get rid of a little cooler, a little freezer that was in. There's a room behind this that has his backup beer and his bag in the box for the beverage station. We were able to get that cooler out, put a nice rack in for him so he can store more beer, and it freed up that room a lot and cleaned it up. But it's just going to be a much cleaner look in there, so we can move to the newer. The reason we're trying to get techs done faster is because of the cold weather and the simulators, so we can offer some more stuff for those people that are in the sim room. And yes, it's only 4 at a time, but from what we've seen, we're also selling beer and other stuff while the people are in the simulator room. It's real convenient to be able to walk 20 steps and go grab another beer, as opposed to waiting for a beverage cart to come around or wait till you go by the clubhouse, which even in Texas, you go by the clubhouse more than any other course, but they're doing it, they're using it. I know Robert came out and bought a hot dog when he was flying.
Waiting for those hamburgers like Scott has out there in Auburn. When are those coming?
As soon as I get that countertops and everything redone and get him a flat grill, and we'll be able to do stuff like that.
All right.
The good news is once they do that work, which should be in the next couple of weeks, everything else is just set it in.
It's going to drop on the counter, so it's just at that point a matter of bringing in the electrician to make sure we have power for all this stuff. This kitchen is going to be the easiest power-wise, because it looks like at one time we had some bigger equipment there, because there's a couple outlets that have 240 and 208, where when we did the stuff at Sim, I had to run all new electrical for everything. They didn't have the stuff to do it. And Mac's going to be the hardest because those breaker panels are anywhere between 30 and 70 years old. And when we did the initial walkthrough with architects, there was 3 or 4 electricians walking through, and they looked at these breaker panels and said, not touching it, not touching it, not touching it. So we actually have a bid for that, don't we? So we have a bid to replace those breakers and at least get them into this century, because they're pretty scary. They're not quite the old screw-in ones you had in your 1940s house, but they're pretty bad. I wouldn't touch them.
Out of curiosity, you didn't run into aluminum wiring or anything out there, did you?
Not yet.
Oh, that's melted away by now.
I was just curious.
Now, when they did some of the lighting and stuff, there was some older wiring that they had to run all new stuff when they did just the general dining area, the pro shop area, when we put those ceiling lights in. They did have to redo some wiring up there because, yeah, there's stuff that hasn't been used in years. It is a little scary.
Yeah.
So that's the general plan, and then some little tweaks at Auburn, because he'll get one of those turbo ovens. He already has everything else, but we just need to make some room, and there we're going to have to pull power in too, and all their power is down in the basement. So that'll be a lot like Sim, where we have to drill up through the floor to bring enough power for that oven up.
Curiosity over at Auburn. I was down in the cart barn helping somebody here a while back, and there was a double wide freezer or something down there that seemed to be no good.
No, it's fixed. There's a double refrigerator and a freezer down there. The freezer's new because his went out, 6 months ago, less?
August.
It was fun to get that down the ramp.
That bad.
It didn't work, you know, there was a part, he probably came when it was down, but we had him come out.
Yeah, the board went bad, so we got that fixed. So one of them's a double door cooler, one's a double door freezer. Are they in the best spot in the world to use? No, but if you've ever seen his back kitchen, it's a shoebox.
So I'm just curious, it looked like it'd been down a little bit.
He actually has room down there in a cage that would be fantastic to put a walk-in cooler in, but
I'd love to have a walk-in cooler.
they're not that expensive. Maybe later down the road we can look at, because he's also talking about maybe doing draft beer at Auburn. So if that's the case, we may look at a walk-in cooler to store kegs and stuff like that. But that's another revenue source, that draft beer is a much better profit margin than cans and doing the one for one, because cans have gotten kind of ridiculous. So it's all rolling. We do have a little menu and a few things we've rolled out at Sim. They are able to do some burgers and pizzas. The pizzas have gone pretty well and pretty simple. It's just a matter of getting people to understand they can hang around and have something. I don't know if you'd want to take a pizza out on the course. Might get a little greasy out there, but it's all doable. Any questions, or did I forget anything, guys?
This is Marcia. So any improvements that are going to be made at Sim, have they been completed?
The kitchen is completed.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
The menu is not. The kitchen is completed, yes.
So,
Gotcha.
yeah, Marcia, hopefully you can hear me. We kind of got everything going right at the end of the year when we were losing staff for the winter. And it was hard to roll out a new menu with all the items that we're going to offer with no staff there. So Kevin has everything ready for springtime when we get staff back up to offer the full menu there.
So
That makes
there
sense.
was- There was some time in December where Kent was like picking one item because he just didn't have the staff, and he'd say, okay, we're gonna offer a pizza today, or we're gonna offer a burger today, because someone would have to run back and do it. But once we get in season, then we get staffed, which is something Jesse's working on for staffing. So we can pay people and actually compete. That's still a big issue, but yeah, it's gonna require an extra body everywhere, but once we get it, we should be able to roll the whole menu, which is not that many different items, and they're all pretty simple.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So has there been any headway on, the last meeting, we talked about trying to increase the salary for the people so that we can actually hire people and keep people through the season. Has there been any headway on that?
Yeah, well, short answer, no, but the reason being, it was in December going in City Hall, you can't do anything the last 2 weeks of December, first 2 weeks of January. Everyone's getting year-end stuff done, including HR, everyone's gone for vacation or whatever. So we just started discussions about the mechanic position and increasing the pay for staff. And by next meeting, I'll definitely have some updates on that.
That's the big problem, is what we pay to start.
Anything new on the liquor license?
No, when we met with Councilwoman Ballard, we brought it up and she was gonna kind of look into it and see what she could get figured out. That was just last week or so, I'll follow up, or maybe 2 weeks ago, but I'll follow up with her. And we've hit a dead, I don't know, we've kind of hit a wall on that, Kevin and I. It was either start a nonprofit or get the mayor and the controller and everybody to sign off, and we were told that's not going to happen, and we don't need another nonprofit. So we didn't really know where to go. So hopefully she can help us get that pushed through somehow.
She did used to own a bar, so.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
All right, anybody else on the board have any questions, comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
All opposed, say no. Hearing that, mission is adjourned.
There we go. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate everyone joining.
See you guys.
Yes, you guys have a good conference.
I think tomorrow on the wood, Ron is going to the GS or the superintendent's conference the week after that.